guys, welcome back. Okay, this is take number 3 or 4 of this thing because I was having some crazy audio echoes to this whole video multiple times. Anyway, I wanted to talk about 765874 Unification, which is a Star Trek tribute, I guess you could say, short film made by OTOY in the Roddenberry Archives. It was produced by William Shatner and the Nimoy family. It's really, really, really beautifully done. And I watched a lot of reaction videos to this and watched everybody's takes on it and couldn't be more happy with how it came out because I got to be in it. I played Yor, the alien who can basically time travel within the Star Trek universe and cross timelines, because in the Star Trek universe, the timeline splits at some point. There's a whole thing when the J.J. Abrams films came out, that's the Kelvin timeline, and then the Prime timeline is where the old shows all went this way, and then the Kelvin timeline split off, and their characters diverged in different directions there, or converged, diverged, yeah. And my character can kind of cross through those timelines. The character is named Yor, is introduced in Star Trek Discovery. So, anyway, I want to talk about this thing, and I'm going to talk about what I can, because there's some very, very heavy-duty NDA material that I cannot get into, or maybe there's some stuff I can, but I don't know yet, so I'm going to find out. I'll probably do a follow-up video with more detail, but I want to talk about just the stuff I can about being on this production, because it's really, really, really cool. So I figure I'll put it on the background here and I'll chatter about it. Let me switch here to scene mode. Look at this, we see all our stuff, and I'll let this thing play. Now, if you have not seen this, go watch this before you listen to me talk over it, because I'm going to pause this a bunch of times and look at stuff. But I highly recommend going to see this, because even if you're a casual Star Trek fan like me, like I've watched plenty of Star Trek in my life. I liked the original series. I liked The Next Generation. After that, I watched what I could. I saw the movies and so forth. But I'm more like Star Wars guy. You can see behind me. I love Star Wars stuff. So there's no reason you can't like both. Got a lot of friends that like both. Star Trek is great. Totally different kind of thing. But there are people who are way, 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 way into Star Trek, even more than I'm into Star Wars. And I feel like this satisfied those people. Everyone that I watched, anyway, seemed very satisfied by that. And that was very fulfilling for me, just being part of this and seeing all the technology. Like this shot, this opening shot here, this is a digital shot. It's it blends in here somewhere with the real location. I watched this a few times. I think right about there is where it switches over. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't even know. I don't even know 100%. But here we go. We're walking, and we are seeing Captain Kirk. Now, I saw a lot of people say, wow, that's a de-aged William Shatner. William Shatner's came in to perform this and revise his character. And it is not William Shatner. This is Sam Witwer playing Captain Kirk. And all the versions of Captain Kirk that you see in this, it is Sam Witwer playing. And you may know Sam. He is the voice of Darth Maul, and he voices multiple characters on the Clone Wars shows. He's a very, very good voice actor, and he's a really, really great actor. And for this shoot, he spent so much time getting every little tiny micro expression and posture and look and walk just nailed down. I mean, look how good he moves. This looks like William Shatner. This is why so many people thought William Shatner came in to do this, because he's just nailing, the subtleties. And his face is driving the, what they call people say deep fake. Now, the technology that OTOY is using for this is, I guess it technically falls into deep fake category, but it's really, really, really powerful. And when they brought me in kind of to interview me about doing this, when we had the meeting, one of the very first things, right when I got there, they sat me down and showed me how this stuff works. I mean, like, I'm not technical guy in that respect, but they just showed it to me, and I was so thoroughly impressed. I can't get into any more than that, but it was very, very impressive. Look, there's me. Ta-da! So I play Yor. This is my character. Now, some of you coming here have no idea who I am or anything, which is normal. But I work in film industry on both sides. I work in props and costumes, and I also am an actor, and I do a lot of creature work where I get to be in makeups and masks and robot costumes and whatever else. That's what my preferred thing to do, is be covered in rubber. So this job came to me kind of in a way that connects both worlds. And these scenes here we filmed over multiple days. So I'm handing Kirk this badge, and I mean, look at Sam. He's so good. He just gets that Shatner movement just so perfect. And we're filming this, and I'm looking at him all day. We're back and forth for multiple days doing this. We talked a lot, and it was fun, really, really fun to work with. He cares a lot, and he really, really knows Star Trek. And, he comes from Star Wars and does a lot of stuff for the Star Wars shows, but he knows Star Trek. Deeply knows Star Trek. And he cared so much about this. And so little things would go on, like between scenes. Every time we do a take, he would run over and watch a playback and be sure that he just captured every little nuance and detail in how Shatner would move. And he was very careful about that. Which is fantastic, and I think it really shows. And he rehearsed this for a long time. He showed me videos of him rehearsing it with the face swap so he could see how it played and make sure his posture was just so it really felt like William Shatner, and it was amazing. And then let me back up here a step so we can take a look at my character, because this is what I get to do. Let's see here. Come in, and so they made this mask for me. A lot of times it's like it's kind of on the cusp of being a makeup, because it is a pullover silicone mask that pulls down over my head and comes down to about mid chest, and it is sculpted on a life cast of me, which I'll show you some pictures of that in a little bit. But they took a mold of my head, sculpted this around that casting. So on the inside of the mask, it forms perfectly to my face. But even though it's a mask, they pull it over. They glued around my eyes. It's all glued down around my eyes. My eyes were painted all the way up, right up to my freaking eyeballs. Literally, like they painted the whole thing. And then the mouth, which in this short, nobody talks, so I don't have to talk. I don't have to move my mouth or anything. But it was all glued down on my mouth and under my chin. So my chin was glued down and the mouth was glued down. And the mask was actually kind of hard to get the mouth to stay shut all the time. I had to hook my lip and then hold my lip up like that to make the mouth stay entirely closed. Otherwise, if I relaxed just a little bit, even if my mouth was kind of closed, the mouth of the mask would look slightly open. I had to really hook it in there to make it close all the way. The mask was sculpted by Mikey Rotella at Studio Gillis, which is kind of like Alec Gillis was one of the owners of Studio ADI. When Studio ADI closed, he moved a lot of the stuff over to Studio Gillis. So there's still actually Amalgamated Dynamics and ADI stuff at this studio. That's another story for another time. Let me put my headphones on. I don't know if I can hear myself. Can you guys hear me? It'd be so funny if I was talking and I wasn't recording anything. That would be great. So yeah, the mask was sculpted over there, and it was just really awesome. So basically I hand this to Sam, and you see how there's a little tug there, because for my character it's important that I guess every time he does one of these time travel things, it weakens him. So it's important, it costs Yor something to send Kirk through these timelines here so that he can get to where he needs to go. Which, again, you should have watched this already if you're here. Now, if you see that little subtle thing, look up the neck. See the neck movement there? I wonder if this is a partial or complete digital replacement, because they did scan me in the costume. So this could be a scanned version of me that they used to do some subtle facial expressions, or they may have just used portions of a scan or just morphed it. It's very hard to tell. But I was there on set, the whole thing, so even if they did that, it's still me, okay? But just look how good Sam does this. Now, we're going to see a scene here in a second. I'm going to bump forward a tad. So he sees the younger Kirk. And this is also Sam Witwer. And with the facial replacement. It was really cool how they did it too, because to make it work better, they changed his hair, and they did, like, you know, they styled Sam's hair to look like Captain Kirk's hair, so they just really had to deal with the face. So most of that stuff is, you know, a combination of like the actual Sam with the face. And if we pause this right here, let me blow this up, full screen. I made that the little zipper pull right there. There's a zipper right down the front of the suit, and that's the zipper pull. And I got to make that. It was pretty cool. So he puts on this badge. And now he's going to head forward here. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We'll speed up a little bit. Now, this is the part that, again, even as a casual Star Trek viewer, this really choked me up a little bit. And I feel like it got the same reaction from everybody. So this prop here, you may have seen it. Spock carries it around, and it's the this is like a photo in this little box of the old crew. And my friend John Miller, who's a really good model maker, made these replica parts. And if you see the photos, the comparison of like the real prop to the replica props, I mean, they are like a spot on match. Really, really, really fantastic work. And now, just look how good Spock looks. It's crazy. Now, this is the thing. When doing these facial replacements, it's such a sensitive topic, especially when you're bringing back a person who's passed away. You know, DHing somebody is one thing, but, you know, bringing back the dead, it's another. So it's really good that they did this so thoughtfully and carefully, and they had permission from the family. The family was on board with the whole thing. And William Shatner, which I might have mentioned before, is like a big proponent of this. He actually really likes the idea of this technology of being able to keep your characters alive and do things. And of course, like, compensate the families of the actors and so forth. You don't want to just willy-nilly make copies of people. That's a sensitive topic. But, you know, if you're going to bring back a character that they played, you know, look how good this looks. I mean, it's so impressive. If you're going to bring back a character that they played, it's a character. It just happens to be their face on that character. So as long as it's done respectfully and, you know, the family involved, I personally don't see a problem with it. And I hope that it's a thing that can be done to this degree. I mean, they did such a good job with this. It looks amazing. But let's fast forward here. There it is, 765874 Unification. 4 Leonard Nimoy. It's very sweet. And on the credits here, you can see is the William Shatner was the producer. Sam Witwer, who played William, he played the whole thing, like I said, 10 times. Lawrence Selleck was Spock, I believe. Robin Curtis played, oh my gosh, what's her name? She was very nice. She doesn't really work in the industry anymore. They like pulled her out. She lives in another state, and they brought her over to do this. Michael Giacchino, if I'm saying his name correctly, he did the music for Rogue One. He's done music for tons of stuff. Jules he runs OTOY as well. He's very, very smart, and there's some very interesting interviews with Jules online. If you just are into stuff, he's an extremely smart guy. Let's see here. we'll go. Here's the main credits, and here's the cast. And looky there, there's my name right in the real credits. Da 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 da. Yor, Gordon Tarpley, which is very cool. What a fun thing. Anyway, we'll let some people get to that. I'm gonna go check this out. I'll show you the OTOY blog page here, where they have all of the info about the show here. There's like a bunch of behind the scenes kind of write-ups, and then some photos mixed in with these little collages here, which I've downloaded so we can talk about them. But they've also recreated very carefully tons and tons and tons of sets from Star Wars. You can go in with VR goggles and look around, and they feel very realistic. They've done an incredible job at that. But here they're showing some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So here's the character Yor from Discovery. I believe this is what this shot is from. This is what they're trying to make me look like. These are some digital doubles of the environments that they blended with the real location that we shot at. And a whole bunch of kind of collages of photos here. In some of these photos, I cannot remember which ones are which, but I think some of the photos that are down here that look like production photos are recreations of production photos using the technology. So, let me see here. I have a folder here. Videos, we'll go to this here. This is the Unification, kind of like some photos I got so I could talk about the process here. These are the ones that they had online. So here's a picture of the mask just on the live cast. This is just kind of sitting there waiting to be stuck on my head. So you can see there's like my form underneath it. There's me on profile. Let's look here. A lot of random photos with no explanation. So a lot of these are the face swapped versions of the actors, just tests and so forth. Then here's my character, and you can see they gave me like a muscle suit to kind of fill me out more, because my build on its own is actually pretty close to the character. It's a good match. But when they put a mask on me that's got silicone all around, it makes my head look oversized compared to my body. So they wanted to like beef up my torso a little bit to kind of balance it out a little bit better. And if they had gone with a makeup instead of a mask, they probably could have made it more fitted to my actual proportions. But this was totally fine. Let me see here. There's another interesting. So if you look here, you can see there is a scan of me as Yor. They brought me in and scanned my character, and I think they may have used some of this for that one shot, like I was mentioning before. I feel like it looks kind of like they did some kind of subtle alterations to stuff, which is, why they do this, so they can really perfect it. But there's a scan of me as Yor, and a bunch of the other shots here. Let's look. It's me at the fountain. I don't think I had the muscle suit in that picture. I can't remember. There's Sam as Kirk, just looking amazing. Just did a great job. Still that. You guys already saw that from the short. And there's that mask. Here's a sculpt of that. This is the sculpture in progress at Studio Gillis. And not quite done, but pretty close. And again, the bust under here is me. It looks just like this one, which is from another project that they were working on. Same exact mold, but another bust of me hanging around. You can see they've drilled holes in my face. It's really good. And on my Instagram, I have a video of them doing the life cast that they use to sculpt this. And so when they make a mask like this, they sculpt it on my form, or whoever's form is going to be in the mask. They sculpt it on their form, and then they take the mold, and we pull the two halves of the mold apart. You take the core out of the sculpture, and then you put the core back in. The core would be my head, my my form of me goes inside the mold. And when you put the rubber in to make the mask, it basically, the negative space inside the mask is perfectly fitted to the performer. So in this case, again, it's me here. So that's kind of how they do that. Really simplified version. But yeah, so the whole thing was a big overlap from my, working in the prop world and working in this like creature suit actor world. They kind of crossed over because my friend Ethan Teller, who works for the Roddenberry archives now and works with OTOY at the Roddenberry archive. He used to work for Prop Store as one of their copywriters, and I used to work at Prop Store from time to time to do prop restorations through Tom Spina Designs, and so I got to be friends with Ethan with Ethan Teller. So when this project came up, he knew that I did this kind of work, and I was like a similar build to this character. So he thought of me, and he reached out and said, "Hey, this, got this thing. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. It sounds cool." And again, I don't know what this is going to be like. When I go into this, I had no idea that the level of detail was going to be like this. I thought it was like a, kind of a fan film or something, but this is like huge budget. They put a massive amount of money into this. The set being out there for the shoot and everything was exactly like being on a film set for a big movie. It was exactly the same. There's like the same kind of camera crew, trucks everywhere, catering, crafty, tons of extras. Like you saw the shots with all the background, these people that are there, like the people witnessing the whole thing. That is not cheap to do. And they did that for multiple days just for the scenes that I was in. On top of all of their technology and the costumes. And the costumes were correct down to the fabrics and everything. All these were custom made for this, and they were just beautifully done. And like this one that I'm in here is custom made to fit me, custom measured on my body, and they made this costume for me. And this weird neck here, they had to go measure the mask, and it was the whole thing. Very, very impressive work. And I would love to talk more about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff as far as the technology goes and so forth, but I'm going to leave it out for now until I get the okay from them to talk about this stuff. So I may come back in a little bit and do another video about that side of things. I'm going to switch back to me here. So anyway, that's all I'm going to cover for tonight, but I just want to talk about it a little bit. It was really, really cool to be part of. I probably said stuff in my previous recordings that had sound issues that I didn't say here that I'm going to kick myself later for. But yeah, great fun. Really happy at the reception it's had so far. And everybody's seen it has been such positive things to say, which makes me feel really good. Again, you never know how these are going to go. You get to be in any film. It might be great, might be terrible. You don't know until it comes out. So I'm glad this was good. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. If you got questions, let me know below. If I can answer them, I will. And if they warrant another video, I will make one. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. I will see you kids soon. Here we go. Stopping the recording. Bye.